So I probably put a picture before this. If I didn't, I forgot. It's just a picture with some questions on it that really highlight one of the parts of Emily Doe's letter. Um, it's in red and it's just all questions in black font, and when it gets to the end in white where it's a statement. So we're gonna look at Emily Doe's letter. So she says if it's all right with the judge that she'd like to address the defendant directly. So this is all aimed at Brock Turner. This is a 12-page letter she wrote to Brock Turner. She says, "You don't know me, but you've been inside me, and that's why we're here today." So the rape kit doesn't lie. He did penetrate her in some way, shape, or form. So she talks about how Saturday was just a night at home, how her dad made some dinner and she sat down with her young sister who was visiting for the weekend. How she worked full time, how she was getting ready to go to bed, watch some TV, read, and then, you know, just be responsible and, go to bed early so she could be up for her job. But then, her sister said that, hey, there's a party 10 minutes away, and she's like, well, oh, excuse me. It's her only night with her sister, so, might as well go. Nothing better to do. There's a dumb party 10 minutes away. So why not? She said she'd go, dance like a fool, and embarrass her younger sister. She joked about undergrad guys, and, her sister teased her for wearing a beige cardigan, like a librarian, looked like a librarian. And how she joked that, she called herself Big Mama, she knew she'd be the oldest there. And then she said, and she admits that she was a little wrong. She says she drank liquor too fast and hadn't factored in that her tolerance had lowered since her college years. So she says the next thing she remembers is waking up on a gurney in a hallway, the dried blood and bandages on her body. She thought maybe she fell. She was in an admin office on campus. She's just calm, wondering where her sister is, and then the deputy explains to her that she's been assaulted. And, she's like, I was calm. I'm pretty sure he was just speaking to the wrong person. I didn't know anyone at the party. And then she was allowed to use the restroom. She pulled down the pants the hospital had given her, and went to pull down her underwear, and there was nothing. Just thin fabric, and just everything inside her was silent. She didn't have words for this feeling. She, she was like, maybe the policemen, you sisters, cut them off me for evidence, and that's how she was able to just keep breathing. Then she felt pine needles scratching the back of her neck, pulling them out of her hair, and she's like, maybe they fell on a tree onto my head. Oh, wow. Just how her brain is telling her not to collapse. But her gut is saying, help me, help me, help me. And then, she shuffled from room to room with a blanket wrapped around her, with the pine needles just, kind of trailing behind her because they're basically everywhere because she was on the ground. And then she was asked to sign papers that, that read rape victim on the top. And, she thought, and that's when it hit her. She's like, maybe something has actually really happened. They confiscated her clothes, and she had to stand there naked, fully exposed, while nurses held a ruler to abrasions and how they photographed them. How the three of them combed the pine needles out of her hair, 6 hands to fill 1 paper bag. And they said to calm her down, they said that it's just the flora and fauna. She had multiple swabs for a rape kit inserted into her vagina and anus, needles for shots, pills, Nikon pointed to photograph the trauma to her genitalia, and how there were long pointed beads, I'm guessing speculums, inside her, and how her vagina was smeared with a cold blue paint to check for abrasions. So this took a few hours, and then they let her shower. And she just said that she stood there and examined her body under the water. She didn't want her body anymore. She was terrified of it. She didn't know what had been in it, if it had been contaminated, who had touched it. She wanted to take off her skin like a jacket, she says, and leave it at the hospital with everything else. I can not tell you how dirty I felt after I was raped. I I know what it's like to stand under that hot water, rubbing your skin almost raw. And I can't imagine what that must have been like for her. So she said all that she was told was that she'd been found behind a dumpster, potentially penetrated by a stranger, and that she should get retested for HIV because results don't always show up immediately. But for now, she should go home and get back to her normal life. So they gave her hugs, and I walked out of the hospital. And she walked out of the hospital into the parking lot wearing the new sweatshirt and sweatpants they provided her. They only allowed her to keep her necklace and her shoes. Her sister picked her up, and her face, tears, anguish, and the victim was very instinctive and responded and just wanted to take away her pain. So she smiled and said, "Look at me, I'm right here, I'm okay, everything's okay, I'm right here, my hair is washed and clean, they gave me the strangest shampoo, calm down and look at me, look at these funny new sweatpants and and, and sweatshirt, I look like a PE teacher, let's go home, let's eat something." Uh, you know, she didn't tell her sister about the bandages and the scratches, about how her vagina was sore and it was a dark color from prodding, how her underwear were gone, how she felt so empty she couldn't continue to speak, how she was afraid and devastated. It's just crazy to think that Brock, Dan, and Carlene could write such short letters, and this woman had 12 pages. And then she talks about how her boyfriend didn't know and how he called and asked what happened, and and how she just lied and said she was fine and hung up and just cried. And I know it's like to be afraid to tell someone you love, someone that you want to be intimate with, or that you are intimate with, that someone has taken advantage of you and treated you like a plaything. That is the scariest thing in the world to do. And it's hard. It's really hard. But sometimes you have to let them know, so they know if you freak out, it's not them. It's the bastard who decided that you weren't worth common decency. And she tells how she wasn't ready to tell her parents or her boyfriend, and I remember it took me weeks to tell my mom, and I couldn't tell my dad because he'd go and kill the guy who treated me that way, and I'm surprised her dad didn't go and kill him. She didn't want to see the fear on their faces, and that Houser would be just 10 times worse over, and she just wanted to pretend like the whole thing wasn't real, like I was. She didn't talk, didn't eat, didn't sleep, didn't interact. She'd just drive to a secluded place to scream after work. Just isolation in its purest form. It's crazy. So she was at work one day scrolling through her phone, and she came across the article. She learned about, how she was found unconscious with messed up hair, a long necklace around her neck, bra pulled out of her dress, a dress pulled up, pulled up above her waist, and that, she was butt naked all the way down to her boots, legs spread apart, and had been penetrated by a foreign object by someone she did not recognize or know. And that's how she learned about it. And now she's like, the pine needles in my hair make sense. And like, it was all coming together. Even though she couldn't remember a lot, it was pieces of the puzzle were starting to fall into place. And she couldn't imagine about her family reading about this online. She's like, this can't be me, this can't be me. She just couldn't accept it. It was like a surreal experience, I'm sure. So she kept reading it. In the next paragraph, she read something that, you know, something that she says she will never forgive. And she says that she read, according to Brock, she liked it. She liked it. She was passed out and unconscious. I'm pretty sure, not only is that non-consensual, I'm pretty sure they can't tell you they like it. And that's the scary part. She doesn't remember certain things, so Brock can say whatever he wants. So then at the bottom of the article, after she learned about all the gory details, they listed swimming times. You know, she was found breathing unresponsive with her underwear 6 inches away from her bare stomach, curled in fetal position, but he's really good at swimming. You know, throw in her mile time if that's what we're gonna do here. I'm gonna cook and put that in there. I think the end is where you list your extracurriculars to cancel out all the sickening things that have happened, and that's exactly what they did. They did exactly that. So she goes on to mention all these horrible things, describing how she's the wounded antelope of the herd. So it's just crazy. It's just crazy. So there are points where, you know, there wasn't not a lot of dialogue mentioned, but investigators were asking questions. Where Brock was like, "Oh, we were dancing," and she's like, "What kind of dancing? Are we talking like full on grinding, or you know, snapping fingers, you know, tapping her toes to the beat?" And she's talking about kiss, and he talked about kissing, and she's like, "Well, what kind of kissing? Pecks or the sloppy?" And then the detective asked Brock if he planned on taking her back to his dorm. He said no. The detective asked how they ended up behind the dumpster. Brock said he didn't know. He admitted to kissing other girls at the party, and he admitted to wanting to hook up with someone. And she thinks, sometimes if I hadn't gone, then this never would have happened. But then she's like, I realized it would have happened just to somebody else, which is what I said a couple videos ago. It would have happened regardless. This was a very predatory behavior. Even if you hadn't gone, it still would have happened just to someone else. Talking about how he's about to enter 4 years of access to drunk girls' parties, and if this is the foot he starts off on, you know, then it's right that he didn't continue. So he never mentioned her voice and consent, never mentioned them even speaking. A back rub is what he considered that, you know, constituted sex. She learned that her ass and vagina were exposed outside, her breasts had been grown, fingers had been jabbed inside her, along with pine needles and debris. Bare skin had been rubbing against the ground behind a dumpster, while an erect freshman was humping her half-naked, unconscious body. And she's like, but I don't remember, so how do I prove that I didn't like it? Well, see, there's laws about that. But, and I'm not laughing because I think it's funny, I think it's just, it's a nervous kind of disgusted laugh in a way. So she's like, there's no way this is going to trial. There were witnesses. There was dirt in my body, but he ran, but he was caught. He's going to settle, formally apologize, and we'll both move on. But Instead, she was told he hired a powerful attorney, expert witnesses, private investigators who were going to try and find details about her personal life to use against her, find loopholes in her story, invalidate her and her sister to show that this sexual assault was in fact a misunderstanding. He was going to go to any length to convince the world that he had simply been confused. And she's like, I was not only told that I had been assaulted, but I was told that because I couldn't remember, I technically could not prove it was unwanted. So that distorted her, damaged her, it almost broke her. It's the saddest type of confusion to be told she was assaulted and nearly raped blatantly out in the open, but we don't know if it counts as assault yet. So she had to fight an entire year to make it clear there was something wrong with this picture. So she was told to be prepared in case their case didn't win. And, she's like, I can't prepare for that. He was guilty the minute I woke up. No one can talk me out of the hurt he caused. Worst of all, I was warned because he knows you don't remember. He's going to get to write the script. He can say whatever he wants and no one can contest to it. So she's like, I had no power, no voice. I was defenseless. My memory loss would be used against me. My testimony was weak, was incomplete, and I was made to believe that perhaps I am not enough to win this. His attorney constantly reminded the jury the only one we can believe is Brock because she doesn't remember. That helplessness was traumatizing. So she said instead of taking the time to heal, she was taking the time to recall that night in excruciating detail in order to prepare for Brock's lawyer's questions that would be invasive, aggressive, and designed to steer her off course, to contradict her sister, phrased in ways to manipulate her answers. Like, instead of his attorney saying, do you notice any abrasions? He said, you didn't notice any abrasions, right? It's a strategy game. She says, this was a game of strategy, and it is, as if I could be tricked out of my own worth. The sexual assault had been so clear, but instead, here I was at the trial, answering questions like, how old are you? How much do you weigh? What did you eat that day? Well, what did you have for dinner? Who made dinner? Did you drink with dinner? No, not even water? When did you drink? How much did you drink? What container did you drink out of? Who gave you the drink? How much do you usually drink? Who dropped you off at this party? At what time? But where exactly? What were you wearing? Oh, the conundrum of every rape case in the world. And why were you going to this party? What'd you do when you got there? Are you sure you did that? But what time did you do that? What does this text mean? Who were you texting? When did you urinate? Where did you urinate? With whom did you urinate? Outside? Was your phone on silent when your sister called? Do you remember silencing it? Really? Because on page 53, I'd like to point out that you said it was set to ring. Did you drink in college? You said you were a party animal. How many times did you black out? Did you party at Frat's? Are you serious with your boyfriend? Are you sexually active with him? When did you start dating? What would you ever cheat? Do you have a history of cheating? What do you mean when you said you wanted to reward him? Do you remember what time you woke up? Oh, and it just goes for a little more. Like things like, were you wearing your cardigan? What color was your cardigan? Do you remember any more from that night? No? Okay. Well, we'll let Brock fill it in. We'll let Brock fill it in. Narrowed, pointed questions, dissecting every little piece of her life, love life, past life, family life, inane questions, trivial details, to try and find an excuse for this guy who had her half naked before even bothering to ask for her name. Assault after assault, physical, and now with questions. And it's crazy. People ask these questions all the time. If you watch shows, they're designed to contradict you. I've been in court for disability, and they really do this. They manipulate those questions and word them and ask them sometimes in different ways to try and get you to contradict yourself. So Um, she was assaulted with these questions designed to attack her, she says, to say, see, her facts don't line up. She's out of her mind. She's practically an alcoholic. She probably wanted to hook up. He's like an athlete, right? They were both drunk, whatever. Hospital stuff she remembers is after the fact. Why take it into account? Brock has a lot at stake, so he's having a really hard time right now. Then it came time for Brock to testify. And she learned what it meant to be victimized. She says, I want to remind you the night after it happened, he said he never planned to take me back to his dorm. He said he didn't know why we were behind an dumpster. He got up to leave because he wasn't feeling well. When he was suddenly chased and attacked, then he learned I could not remember. So 1 year, as predicted, a new dialogue emerged. Brock had a strange new story. Almost sounded like a poorly written young adult novel with kissing and dancing and hand-holding and lovingly tumbling onto the ground. And most importantly, in this new story, there was suddenly consent. And that is the C word that can make or break the case. Consent. 1 year after the incident, he remembered, oh yeah, by the way, she actually said yes to everything, so... He said he had asked if I wanted to dance. Apparently I said yes. He asked if I wanted to go to his dorm. I said yes. Then he asked if he could finger me, and I said yes. Most guys don't ask, can I finger you? Usually there's like this natural progression, and you know, it's not like a Q&A session, but you know, Brock can fill in the blanks because apparently she can't remember. And apparently, according to Brock, she granted full permission. He's in the clear. Even in his story, I only said a total of 3 words. Yes, yes, yes. Before he had me half naked on the ground. Future reference, if you're confused about whether a girl can consent, see if she can speak an entire sentence. You couldn't even do that, just one coherent string of words. Where was the confusion? This is common sense. Human decency. According to him, the only reason we were on the ground was because I fell down. Note, if a girl falls down, help her get back up. She is too drunk to even walk and falls down. Do not mount her, hump her, take off her underwear and insert your hand inside her vagina. If a girl falls down, help her up. If she is wearing a cardigan over her dress, don't take it off so that you can touch her breasts. Maybe she is cold, maybe that's why she wore the cardigan. And then she talks about the Swedes, those heroes who came and saved her. And she's talking about, like, why didn't Brock say to the Swedes if he was so innocent, stop, everything's okay, go ask her, she's right over there, she'll tell you. And, you know, the one Swede that tackled him was crying so hard he couldn't speak to the police because of what he saw. And Brock's lawyer, you know, point out, well, we don't know when she became unconscious. You're right, maybe I was still fluttering my eyes and I wasn't completely limp yet. This is crazy that she has to explain all this to Brock. And she talks about how she's speaking to Brock in this, and she says, please excuse my smudged eyeliner too. She says, you said you would have stopped and gotten help. You say that, but I want you to explain how you would have helped me. Step by step, walk me through this. I want to know if those evil Swedes had not found me, how the night would have played out. I am asking you, would you have put my underwear back on over my boots, untangled the necklace wrapped around my neck, closed my legs, covered me, picked the pine needles from my hair, and asked if the abrasions on my neck and bottom hurt? Would you then go find a friend and say, will you help me get her somewhere warm and soft? I don't sleep when I think about the way it could have gone if those 2 guys had never come. What would have happened to me? That's what you'll never have a good answer for, and that's what you can't explain, even after a year. On top of all this, he claimed that I orgasmed after 1 minute of digital penetration. The nurse said there had been abrasions, lacerations, and dirt in my genitalia. Was that before or after I came? To sit under oath and inform all of us that yes, I wanted it, yes, I permitted it, and that you are the true victim attacked by Swedes for reasons unknown to you is appalling, is demented, is selfish, is damaging. It is enough to be suffering. It is another thing to have someone ruthlessly working to diminish the gravity and validity of your suffering. And I know how that feels. I truly do. And this letter is truly heartbreaking. And here we go, the big parts. You said being drunk, I just couldn't make the best decisions, and neither could she. Alcohol is not an excuse, is it a factor? Yes, but alcohol was not the one who stripped me, fingered me, had my head dragging against the ground with me almost fully naked. Having too much to drink was an amateur mistake, and that I admit to. But it was not criminal. Everyone in this room has had a night where they regretted drinking too much, or knows someone close to them who has had a night where they have regretted drinking too much. Regretting drinking. God, this is just crazy. Regretting drinking is not the same as regretting sexual assault. We were both drunk. The difference is I did not take off your pants and underwear, touch you inappropriately, and run away. That's the difference. You said if I wanted to get to know her, I would have asked for her number rather than asking her to go back to my room. I'm not mad because you didn't ask for my number. Even if you did know me, I would not want to be in this situation. My own boyfriend knows me. But if he asked to finger me behind a dumpster, I would slap him. No girl wants to be in this situation. Nobody. I don't care if you know their phone number or not. You said I stupidly thought it was okay for me to do what everyone around me was doing, which was drinking. I was wrong. Again, you were not wrong for drinking. Everyone around you was not sexually assaulting me. You were wrong for doing what nobody else was doing, which was pushing your erect dick in your pants against my naked, defenseless body, concealed in a dark area where partygoers could no longer see or protect me. And my own sister could not find me. Sipping Fireball is not your crime. Peeling off and discarding my underwear like a candy wrapper to insert your fingers into my body is where you went wrong. Why am I still explaining this? You said during the trial, I didn't want to victimize her at all. That was just my attorney and his way of approaching the case. Your attorney did not scapegoat. Your attorney is not your scapegoat. He represents you. Did your attorney say some incredulously infuriating, degrading things? Absolutely. He said you had an erection because it was cold. You said you were in the process of establishing a program for high school and college students in which you speak about your experience to speak out against the college campus drinking culture and the sexual promiscuity that goes along with it. Campus drinking culture, that's what we're speaking out against. You think that's what I've spent the past year fighting for? Not awareness about campus sexual assault or rape or learning to recognize consent. Campus drinking culture. Down with Jack Daniels, down with Sky Vodka. If you want to talk to people about drinking, go to an AA meeting. You realize having a drinking problem is different than drinking and then forcefully trying to have sex with someone. Show men how to respect women, not how to drink less. Drinking culture and the sexual promiscuity that goes along with that like a side effect, like fries on the side of your order. Where does promiscuity even come into play? I don't see how that ends up. We Brock Turner guilty of drinking too much and the sexual promiscuity that goes along with that. Campus sexual assault. There's your first PowerPoint slide. Rest assured, if you fail to fix the topic of your talk, I will follow you to every school you go to and give a follow-up presentation. Lastly, you said, I want to show people that one night of drinking can ruin a life. A life. One life. Yours. You forgot about mine. Let me rephrase for you. I want to show people that one night of drinking can ruin two lives. You and me. You are the cause, I am the effect. You have dragged me through this hell with you, dipped me back into that night again and again. You knocked down both our towers. I collapsed at the same time you did. If you think I was spared, came out unscathed, that today I ride off into the sunset while you suffer the greatest blow, you are mistaken. Nobody wins. We have all been devastated. We've all been trying to find some meaning in all of this suffering. Your damage was concrete, stripped of titles, degrees, enrollment. My damage was internal, unseen. I carry it with me. You took away my worth, my privacy, my energy, my time, my safety, my intimacy, my confidence, my own voice. Until today. See, one thing we have in common is that we were both able to get up in the morning. I am no stranger to suffering. You made me a victim. In newspapers, my name was unconscious, intoxicated woman. 10 syllables and nothing more than that. For a while, I believed that was all I was. I had to force myself to relearn my real name, my identity, to relearn that this is not all that I am. I am not just a drunk victim at a frat party, found behind a dumpster while you are the all-American swimmer at a top university, innocent until proven guilty with so much at stake. I am a human being who has irreversibly I am a human being who has been irreversibly hurt. My life was put on hold for over a year waiting to figure out I was worth something. My independence, natural joy, gentleness, and steady lifestyle I had been enjoying because, distorted beyond recognition, I became closed off, angry, self-deprecating, tired, irritable, empty. And if you guys read this whole letter, there's so much more. It's crazy. It's it's so just gut wrenching. And let me just read the last paragraph to you because that's why I'm here. And finally, to girls everywhere, I am with you. On nights when you feel alone, I am with you. When people when people doubt you or dismiss you, I am with you. I fought every day for you, so never stop fighting. I believe you. As the author Anne Lamott once wrote, lighthouses don't go running all over an island looking for boats to save. They just stand there shining. Although I can't save every boat, I hope that by speaking today, you absorbed a small amount of light. A small knowing that you can't be silenced. A small satisfaction that justice was served. A small assurance that we are getting somewhere, and the big, big knowing that you are important. Unquestionably, you are untouchable. You are beautiful. You are to be valued, respected, undeniably every minute of every day. You are powerful, and nobody can take that away from you. To girls everywhere, I am with you. Thank you.